me see. Hello, everyone. I'm hoping that you can hear me because I have a dark screen in front of me. So welcome to the A Train to Sedona. I'm Linda Marsanico. I have a memoir that I wrote by the same name. In it, I talk about my journey to love and compassion, my failings, my successes, in the hope that my journey will inspire yours. You can get a signed copy of my book at the A Train to at actually lindamarsanico.com on Buy the Book page. It's available in bookstores and retail outlets. And at those points of sale, you can get an unsigned copy. I also have a free gift for you. It's called the Cheat Sheet for High Vibration Living. In it, I have 7 exercises, all designed to keep your vibration high and your focus in the present moment. I want to highlight the breath and breathing. My favorite breathing technique is to breathe in 4, hold for 4, and breathe out for 8. When we breathe rhythmically and form a pattern of such, we reduce our pulse, we reduce our blood pressure, we oxygenate our cells, and we bring the parasympathetic nervous system in to calm the sympathetic nervous system. And you can download a free copy on my website at lindamarsanico.com. I have 2 disclaimers. One, that this broadcast does not establish a professional relationship, and 2, that the opinions expressed here don't necessarily represent Talk Radio New York City. Today, I have on my show Antonia Van Becker and Greg Lee. Welcome to the show. And
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I just want to read something about you so that our listeners can learn what you're about. Antonia Van Becker and Greg Lee are trailblazers in the healing and transformation industry. Through their groundbreaking CoreTalk Holistic Healing Modality and their work with thousands of clients and practitioners, they've helped healers, transformational coaches, alternative health professionals, and wellness warriors unlock their full potential and amplify their impact. Over the past 30 plus years, their live events, workshops, and programs have empowered practitioners to heal themselves and step into their greatness, creating thriving practices while profoundly transforming their clients' lives. Self Health Institute's mission is to empower healers and coaches to connect deeply with their purpose, clear blocks to their success, and make the impact they are meant to have on the world. Their signature events focus on transformational tools and teachings that address procrastination, self-doubt, overwhelm, visibility, and chronic health issues by healing core energetic blocks in the meridians and chakras and addressing psychic manipulations like cords, shrouds, splits, and shock. Well, welcome again.
Yay, thank you so much for having us. We so are thrilled to be on your show.
I think we're going to have a very informative conversation.
And a lot of fun.
And fun. Always we want to have fun.
Oh.
Kuan Yin talks about having fun and creating energy through dancing and celebrating. So my first question is, what are the influences from the past that bring you to where you are today?
You know, it's so interesting when you talk about influences, because sometimes they're very positive events, and then there's sometimes things that happened where you had to find answers. And one of the things where I had to really find answers was in the early 90s, after 10 years of kind of odd feelings and odd nightmares. I got home from a business trip and didn't feel well. I had a gastrointestinal thing that went on for 6 months. And at the end of that, my doctor said, Greg, there's nothing there's nothing that's wrong with you medically. And it really sent me into an area of having to take personal responsibility for my health.
Especially because you lost 40 pounds.
I lost 40 pounds. Nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. And I had been in perfect physical condition before that, 6 months earlier, and things really didn't look good for me. I know that my family was very concerned about what was happening.
Actually, my mom and I were saying, oh my God, maybe he has a pancreatic cancer that's undetected so far. I mean, he was withering away, right?
So leaving the medical foundation that day, I threw the current medication that I'd been taking in the trash, and I went away starving as usual because I'd had diarrhea for 6 months and lost 40 pounds. And I went to a new grocery store called Whole Foods in Palo Alto. This was in 1892. And as I was grazing through the bread and pastry aisles, I came face to face with a healer that I knew. And I looked her in the eye and I said, you know, I've been meaning to call you. And she said, yeah, I know, your pancreas is really in trouble. And it was one of those true wake-up calls. And I went to see her in a 90-minute session that she did, an energy healing session where she was asking my body questions and checking out my whole digestive system. She did some energetic healing. She ran some meridians, and I got off the table and I never had a symptom again. And it created this huge want to know more feeling inside of me. And I had been a healer all of my life up to that point, doing massage and body work. And it really was what took us into this work. We went and did her certification programs. We did thousands of hours of apprenticing with her. We started our own self-help institute, wellness center at that point, and just moved forward doing our work and creating this whole healing life that we have now as we've moved forward. And that was really the starting point.
How about for you, Antonia?
It was so interesting because it wasn't very much before that happened with Greg that I was pregnant with our second daughter. We were both working in Silicon Valley. We were handing, the baby off at the airport because we both worked jobs where we traveled internationally and went to a lot of different. I was actually the manager of the largest technical training department in Silicon Valley at the time. We had plants and I had groups in Israel and Arizona and all over the world, Ireland, things like that. And I hadn't stopped work yet, but I was 8 months pregnant and I was outside getting ready for everything, raking leaves and such. And I got a blister on my hand. And I ignored it like I did almost all physical things at that point because I just would always push through and work hard and keep going all the time. And so the next morning, I woke up and I'm like, wow, my hand is kind of stiff. But I was like, okay, whatever. Kept going, took the first baby to daycare because I was still working. But I had a doctor's appointment because I actually I had bronchitis at the time and I was on antibiotics. I got bronchitis and I had IBS a lot. And I had for years and years these patterns of these chronic issues. And I said, geez, I'm feeling kind of dizzy. I don't feel very good. I'll just go to my doctor early. And I got in there and we talked about the bronchitis and such. And I said, and my hand hurts. My hand is weird. And he looked at my hand and the blister and my hand was kind of red. He said, roll up your sleeve. And so I rolled up my sleeve and there was a red line going up my arm. And it was halfway up my arm. And he yelled to the nurse and I'm like, oh, holy cow. And what I knew and he knew immediately was that I had blood poisoning. And as soon as that red line hits your armpit, it goes directly to your heart and you can die immediately. And so here I was 8 months pregnant, having this, this blood poisoning. I was already on antibiotics. And of course, I got so many antibiotics. I went home with so many more antibiotics, and me and the baby, ended up okay. But I walked out of that doctor's appointment again saying, what the heck is going on? Why is this happening with my body? Why am I sick? Why did I get this horrible infection? And that could have actually cost my life and the life of my unborn baby. And what was so interesting for us is, we didn't change right away. These things happened, and it was within, 6-8 months of all of this together. And it was so interesting because Greg and I came from very different families, and we had very different experiences growing up. And yet here mine was a little more from a, divorced and, household with alcoholism and suicide and a lot of things like that. And Greg came from kind of a very stable household. And yet here we were having these physical issues that almost cost us our lives within a few months of each other. And that's where, when we were introduced to this healing modality and we took it on and made it our own, I was actually able, after a couple of years and a lot of discovery, I've healed myself from those chronic illnesses that I had. So it was really a very interesting way of coming upon and healing our own bodies so that we could start to heal others.
Thank you so much. What a set of stories. Just briefly, before we go on break, can you tell me the role of spirituality in your lives?
It's really to see the blinking light on the dashboard and be able to respond in a way that connects with your unique being, and to be able to have what happens in your life be the guidepost to a reference of what you really want, and to be able to connect with your spirit on a body, mind, and a real spiritual level, so that what happens to you is that significant roadmap of how you move along and have your life be the way you want it.
It's quite an adventure on that path.
I know, right? Ooh.
So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'm really talking to my listeners, I'm going to be asking, what are some of the real blocks that get in the way of spiritual growth, even when people think they are doing everything right? And I can certainly relate to this.
Right?
So listeners, come back and join us after the break.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
everyone. Welcome back to the A Train to Sedona. I'm Linda Marsanico, and with me are Antonia, Van Becker, and Greg Lee. So my question, just to repeat it, is what are some of the real blocks that get in the way of spiritual growth, even when people think they are doing everything right?
I love that question, because we really, given that we help thousands of healers and coaches, speakers, and wellness warriors get past their blocks, and they say, oh my gosh, I have done so many modalities. I've been working on this for years. And what we found, and has become one of our really, a thing that we teach a lot, is looking at psychic manipulations as well as our body's own protective mechanisms that it brings up in order to shield us from some of the things that have happened. But with these psychic manipulations, first of them, many people have heard about cords, perhaps the cording, energetic cording from one person to another. And shrouding is really kind of more of an extreme version of that, designed to shut people down. But what we found is that if people don't deal with that shrouding and cording in their relationships and in the things that have happened in the past, that they can't fully heal some of those traumatic things that have happened or adverse experiences out of their body. And really, if you don't clear the energetics of those experiences out of your body, you can do talk therapy for a long time, but it doesn't get the energetic, blocks out of your body. You must clear the energetic blocks out of your body in order to completely heal.
Is there anything more you'd like to add to that, Greg, before we go on to the next question?
I think many times people don't realize the impact of how they learned the strategies to stay safe when they were young. So the adverse experiences that people have had when they're children, those are really how we react to people and experiences that look similar later in our life. And it's that energetic fingerprint that happened when people told us what we had to do or how we had to feel or how we should be, that causes us to react many times in ways later in life that don't allow us to fully embrace who we are, what we want, and what's really possible in the moment. So we kind of shut ourselves down a little bit. And that's where the self-doubt and some of the procrastination comes in, and just feeling like maybe I can't do exactly what I want, because we should be able to do exactly what we want to do.
Fulfill our dreams, right? And our desires.
Absolutely. We're so powerful.
Yeah.
So the next question is, what if someone thinks they're okay? What do they do? So let me rephrase. What if someone feels that they are okay because what they're doing spiritually seems to be appropriate, but deep down, they're still hurting? How do they know the difference?
Yeah, and the difference, this is kind of that slight thing where until you go to do the thing that you really dream about, you're going to be somewhat comfortable. You're going to feel like, I'm okay. I've done the work. Maybe I do meditation every day. Maybe I connect and have good relationships with people, but I'm not doing that dream work. I'm not stepping into the life that I really envisioned at some time in my life. And when you go to do that thing and you feel like this is uncomfortable and you pull back, that's really that time where if you were to have a discussion with yourself where you could say, what's holding me back? Is there some reason why I'm not taking action? The friend who's going to be able to give you the what to look at and the advice of how to move forward is yourself.
Your body.
So in our CoreTalk work, we really teach people how to connect with this deep inner wisdom of their body and tap into the answers with very simple but powerful questions, where you use muscle testing and ask the questions. Body, is there a reason why I'm not doing this? And your body will lead you to directly to the answers, and then what to do energetically through our healing system to be able to create flow and move toward your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. So you talk about listening to your body's wisdom. What are some clear signs that the body is asking for help on a deeper level?
Mm-hmm. And Greg had mentioned earlier about the red light on the dashboard. And we really, using that as a metaphor for how the body really talks to us. And, for me, there was a huge red light on my dashboard when I got that blood poisoning, right? And other people maybe have this wake up call about, maybe they get a heart attack or maybe they faint or something like that. So in more extreme cases, that is how our body says, whoa, you're out of line. You need to come back, pay attention and do something, or else this body isn't going to be able to continue forward. But what we love to do is like, whoa, we don't want to get to that extreme. We want to be able to really listen to our body, understand what it's telling us. Like, one of my little red lights on the dashboard is that if I hit my head, even if it's just like, I just glance it against some, I'm like, well, okay, I need to get more rest, right? Or if I get a little bit of a cough, I'm like, I'm overdoing it. I need to pull back. I need to get some rest. I need to readjust. So there's these little physical things that can happen, repeatedly or, when we're tired. And there's also some of that, the getting triggered or having kind of a mental response of maybe I feel a little depressive thought coming in, or maybe I lose my temper at someone. It's like, oh, okay, that's my blinking red light. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling frustrated. And I need to do something to readjust, take care of myself, or get myself out of a situation or relationship that's triggering me and sending me into this negative space.
So our everyday life can be very informative when we're tuning in.
Every moment of every day, when you listen to your body, you consistently get these messages.
And it can be very subtle and something that you don't really pay attention to because it seems to be normal, like not getting enough sleep or waking up anxious or having your digestion be off for a very long time, or getting a little headache, but it seems to go away. Or maybe getting frustrated with somebody who asks you questions that you don't want to respond to.
Yeah. So being in the present moment, being aware of the nuances is of utmost importance.
100%, right? Because that really leads you into these deeper discoveries of why is this triggering me? And this is one of the important things, is really realizing, why is this triggering me? How is this current situation perhaps related to something in my past that I still need to heal?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, thank you for that, both of you.
Mm.
So what happens when people begin to love themselves for real? And why is it so hard for most of us to get there?
I love this question. And one of the questions that we ask when we're doing CoreTalk and that we teach our students is there something that's keeping me from loving myself fully? And it's kind of like the same idea of, if I had the awareness that deep inside I have everything that I need, and that there really is enough love and loving myself is okay. If we can be in that awareness, but so many times the experience that we're having in the moment says, oh no, that's not true. Because that experience is really reflecting upon like experiences that we had where there was adversity. And we were also very young, and it was hard for us to realize that we didn't really have to do anything to get love. So in our current experience, when we're grown up, we're looking for someone to say, no, you're really worthy of love. But people don't do that very often in our lives. And having that inner knowing and that inner spiritual guidance to be able to reflect on what's happening and have your foundation be, I love myself, can be challenging based on the experiences that we're having during the day, where it doesn't look like I'm loving myself or what's going on is a really loving situation. So it's really about, how do I put myself into that aspect of realizing that that is absolutely the truth, that I am love, I am loved, and that love isn't outside of me, it's inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to say anything about that, Antonia?
Yeah, and we love to test that. So one of Greg's favorites thing is going to the mirror and saying, I love you to yourself every day. And what I love, because I've had many negative thoughts going through my head, is slowing down those thoughts and really listening. Am I telling myself I love myself, or am I calling myself a loser when things happen? And that's a real test. What is your inner dialogue saying? Is it saying, oh, it's all right, sweetie, everybody makes mistakes? Or is it like really harsh?
It's a very different energy that I put out. If I make a mistake and say, oh, I can't do anything right, I'm a failure, versus
Exactly.
I made a mistake and I'm learning from this and I'll do it differently the next time.
Absolutely.
Completely different energy.
Yep. That's why they put erasers on pencils.
Do you find that with the energy, that going into the CoreTalk and looking at the energy, the muscle testing, that you get into the childhood of the people that you're working with without dwelling there, just getting in there and doing what needs to be done and then coming back to present?
Absolutely. And that's what the body wants, is to say, let's go there, let's heal that, clear out all that energy, and then look at how this will positively impact us in the moment with what we're doing right now.
Yes, the present moment is magical, really.
It's the only thing that is.
It's where the action is, it's where all things are possible. And I really work hard. I work at that, to come back to present. When I'm walking, I can go into thinking about so many things that are on my plate, but coming back to present is a refresh.
Yes.
And it's the muscle of the path, I think, one of the muscles of the path.
Absolutely.
So we're going to get ready for break now. And when we come back, listeners, I'm going to ask my guests, what beliefs, spiritual rules do you see people following that might actually keep them stuck? And I find that a very, very interesting question. I cannot wait to hear your answer. So listeners, come back after break. We'll have some fun and get important information.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
Ready to serve up success with a splash? Hi, I'm Bruce Kramer, a.k.a. the Corporate Cockroach.
I'm the Renaissance woman, Angie Snowball. And I'm your strategy doctor, Dr. Navtej Desange, inviting you to Setting Up Success with a Splash.
Join us as we shake things up with real talk and real strategies centered around awareness, action, and accountability.
And yes, there really is a cocktail involved. Please join us and sip your way to success.
Serving up success with a splash, where wisdom meets happy hours. Cheers!
Cheers.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the A Train to Sedona. I'm here, I'm Linda Marsamico, and here with my guests, Antonia Van Becker and Greg Lee. So let me pose the question again for all of us. What beliefs, spiritual rules do you see people following that might actually keep them stuck?
Oh, and this can be a real tricky one, right? And I think, in our work with thousands of people, it's so interesting because we see some people that really believe, well, if I think positive, if I just think positive all the time, I'm fine. And what we see is that, yes, they are in very difficult situations themselves. Perhaps they're with people who are not treating them well. Perhaps they don't like their job, but darn it, they're going to think positive about it. But what the real truth is that sometimes only thinking positive and only allowing yourself to be on that only positive plane doesn't allow your own self to look at what might not be working, to heal it, and thus not have to be in a bad situation where you're being abused, even if it's not like a horrible abuse, or to be in a job that you don't actually like, but you're not willing to break free and move on to what you really know you can do. So it's that false positive, I'll just think positive and that'll be fine idea that can really lead you to only living at a certain level and not really getting into what's important for yourself to heal in order to get to that real higher level of peace and equanimity and doing the beautiful work that you're here to do on the planet.
When I work with my clients and they ask me, well, how do you work, Linda? I say, as one of the ways in my approach, that we look at the past and childhood to understand the influences and we work on them, but we don't dwell there. So we really need to pay attention to some of the negatives for a while so that we can then come up to the more positive vibrations.
Right. We want to be aware of what impact they might be having in the future, in the present, so that then we can say, oh, so healing that will then make the present so that if I don't like a situation I'm in, I can change it instead of kind of being stuck in these situations that aren't optimal. Did you have
a strategy?
Yeah. Yes.
Just a little bit different view of it is that idea of when you know that you want to do something, but doing it is uncomfortable. If you're avoiding that discomfort so that you feel positive, or so that you're in that sphere of, wanting to be spiritually aligned in the place where you are, it's kind of avoiding the blinking red light on the dashboard. because we want to be able to say, I love myself fully. I'm okay where I am right now. And darn it, I'm going for the thing that I really want. And what's keeping me from being able to do that? Because it's that question of being able to have introspection into, why am I not doing that? Is there something that I feel that might be holding me back? Because if we stay in that spiritually kind of, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to feel okay right now, but you're not actually doing the action that would change your life and move you in the direction of what you really want. So it's always that feeling of, am I suppressing the emotions to be okay right now? Or is it okay to look at how I really feel at a deeper level and be able to heal those experiences that I've had in the past that are keeping me from being able to take action now?
And being able to accept the negative with the positive. I mean, it's all, two sides of the same coin. And we have to be able to love even the parts of us that are difficult, or if we get frustrated or angry or whatever happens, that's all part of our human nature. And if we kind of deny half of our human nature, it's not a true look at who we are and what impacts us.
Loving ourselves includes essentially knowing who we are. And, the warts and the pimples, the failings, the successes, embracing that is love.
Yes, ma'am.
So when we're feeling uncomfortable, that's the red light blinking on the dashboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where we need to go.
Yeah. And really, we want to be uncomfortable sometimes. Life is uncomfortable. If we're comfortable, then we're not doing everything that we need to do. We're not putting ourselves out there. We're not challenging ourselves. We're just kind of in a rut if we're so comfortable all the time.
Yes. So that leads me to my next question. If someone feels stuck or plateaued on their spiritual path, what's one thing they can do to start moving forward?
One thing that really works really well is to look at kind of your to-do list in life. And if you look at that and you say, this one, if I did it, this would really move the needle for me. This would change things right now. And that's part of my vision, my dream of what I want, but you're never doing it. So if that thing is there, that's kind of like the indicator of there's something that I'm not taking action on. And from the question before about the spiritual kind of limitation sometimes when we go into that, everything is okay. So if we look at that thing and we say, no, I'm just gonna retreat a little bit and spiritually become okay with not doing that. Oh, that's where we start to hit, that's called a roadblock. That's when we have a path that we've chosen as our unique, spiritually deep reason we're here on the planet. But then we say, I'm just going to get off at the next exit and go relax for a little while. But it's not a full relaxing is the thing. And being spiritually content in a place that is in your comfort zone is okay on Sunday. And you want to have that feeling when you take time off that I'm okay. And then you want to be able to come back to it and say, what do I need to do? What are the areas where I might have some blocks? And we have to go into the body to ask this because the body is so wise. Sometimes we don't have the presence of even what the question would be. So to just ask the body, is there something that I need to heal to create more flow so I can take this action? And the body will say, yes. And then the next question is there something stuck? Yes. Is it in my energetic meridians or chakras? Yes. And then we just follow directions from that point of what to do so that we can begin to have flow and take action again.
And I'd love to add to that. One of the questions, like when you say, if I have a block, one of the questions I love to ask myself on a very regular basis is, what do I want? What do I want in any situation, whether it could be, what do I want for dinner? What do I want to do later? What do I want to do with my life? That big question, right? All of these small and large questions. It's so important to ask yourself that, because so many people, myself included, have given away our own power to someone else when we let them have what they want and we don't speak up about what we want. And if we don't share what we want on a moment-to-moment basis with whoever we're with or the situation we're in, then we often much more easily give away our power in the bigger question of, what do I want that will make me happy in this life? What do I really want to do to fulfill my soul's mission in this lifetime right now? Right? And that's the question. What do I want to do in my life to bring that deeper conversation of then, what was that dream I had as a kid that actually I still resonate? Or what do I love to do that made me so happy when I was a kid? Maybe it's dancing, maybe it's singing, maybe it's wanting to write a book. What is that dream, that love that I had then that maybe I have shut down completely right now? And maybe that is the thing that I want to do now. And why am I not doing that?
I think it's so important to make decisions every moment. We're making decisions every hour, every day. And so I developed a questioning system. So I have to make a decision, yes or no. Do I wish to? Do I want to? Can I emotionally, financially afford to do this? And when I hold this in my heart, does it have integrity for me? And is it consistent with the person I wish to become? And I have really gotten to know myself, and my clients get to know themselves, and we build that muscle, and then we build up to, well, what is my purpose? Because it's really a continuum to come back to me, because I have the answers. My first relationship is with Creator. So let me develop that self-love and that intimate communication, that wisdom and the confidence to know I can go within. So we're getting ready for a break again. And when we come back, I want to ask the question, how do patterns, family patterns, past lives, interfere with our ability to feel love and to trust in our own wisdom? So listeners, when we come back, we're going to continue. Join us again.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Hi, I'm Linda Marcanico. The A Train to Sedona is a memoir about my journey to love and compassion. It's also the name of my new broadcast on Wednesdays at 12 noon. When we are spiritual, we embrace possibilities and ideas, which strengthen our mind, body, spirit, health, and wisdom. On the A Train to Sedona broadcast, I plan to interview guests who embrace these expansive practices. Join us on Wednesdays at 12 noon on Talk Radio New York City.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the A Train to Sedona broadcast. I'm Linda Marsanico with my guests, Antonia and Greg. So let me pose the question for all of us. How do patterns from family dynamics, past lives, interfere with our own ability to feel love and trust in ourselves and our wisdom?
Oh, this is a big one, right? And I think it's the effects of these patterns and situations, this generational trauma or ancestral trauma, plus the immediate family dynamics, can really have these huge, deep impacts on the way that we are in the moment. And we don't even know that they can have those impacts. And some of those patterns that we have seen with the biggest impacts are about scarcity or fear of visibility, fear of speaking up, that can really hugely, enormously impact your own ability in the present moment to be seen, to be heard, to have a good maybe business, or even just be abundant in your own life. They impact our ability to manifest the things that we want right here, right now. And we're actually doing a Heal Your Past Life Trauma workshop in a couple of weeks. And we've seen, and there's a lot of research now on past lives and how they are a reality in our lives as much as this generational and ancestral trauma and the nature versus nurture, how we're impacted by the beliefs in our families as we were growing up. But what we've seen in all of those cases is that these beliefs, these patterns and situations turn into our internal belief system, and they guide our internal belief system so that we're making decisions based on all of those usually outdated and limiting beliefs that we don't even know about or have consciousness or awareness about, but they're guiding our decision making every single moment of the day. And so it's all about, should I hit that send on that email to 1,000 people? Should I get up on this stage and talk to everyone? Should I raise my hand in a seminar or in a class to give my opinion? And many times those old patterns and beliefs will say, no, you'll sound stupid, or no, nobody needs to know that, or why do you want to speak out? That's dangerous. Don't make yourself visible. And that's why people pull back and don't speak up, don't say their truth, don't come out and do what they want to do or have a high profile business, because all of those beliefs that we've had from these past times are saying, don't do it. Stay low, be careful, stay safe.
Thank you.
One more thing about that I love to say is this is your brain interpreting everything that has happened to you in the past, everything that's generational that has been brought into your family. Your brain wants to keep you safe, so it's telling you all those things. But your body wants to fulfill your dreams. And that's why we talk to the body, because the body's saying, well, actually, you're really cool and you have really good ideas. While the brain's like, no, don't do it. And your body's like, no, you can do it. Let's help the brain retrain. Let's change those beliefs. Let's clear the fear out of the body and the brain, so we can move forward together and doing those most important things for you.
Thank you, Antonia. Greg, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I love to geek out on the energetics of the body and what these things in our life mean and how they affect us. So can I do that for just a second?
Please.
So when we, in the moment, think, oh, I better not talk about that deeper thing about myself because people are going to see something in there. So that comes from the generational aspects of don't air the family's dirty laundry, right? So as we're young, we're taught to not express things that are at a deep level about things that maybe our parents or our ancestors thought was not a good thing to talk about because people might not think well about us and our business might not do well because of that. That gets stuck in the small intestine meridian, which is all about family secrets. And when we are thinking that way as we're going through our experience, our small intestine organ is not getting the energetic qualities to make it just zoom and do great that it would if we were actually expressing. So the small intestine starts to hold back. It doesn't take up the resources that we need for our liver to be able to create all the vitamin and mineral precipitations of this incredible metabolic body that we have. And we're less than in that moment versus being able to, so we literally clear that energy that was stuck in the small intestine meridian, re-energize it, and then ask the body, now you're going to be able to express yourself, bring yourself into the world in a really, unique, visible way. And yes, I'm going to be able to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to this perfect function in the small intestine.
And really, when you look at the small intestine and its physiological, duty in the body, it breaks down fats, it takes up the vitamins and minerals. And so if you don't have that assimilation and breaking down of what you're eating, then you're missing out on a very essential component of, ability to thrive in this body. We need the function of every single organ. So when we clear these meridians, it not only clears the emotional context and blockages of whatever happened, but it clears the function of each of the organs so that they can create this beautiful physiological flow that optimizes the entire body system.
That's fascinating.
We love geeking out about this, and we really love to go into the energetics of the physiology and how each of our organs contribute to our optimal health.
We're so complex. It never ceases to amaze me. When Creator did this, the magnificent design that is us,
that we get to be a part of without really having to know in our mind how it works. It just does. And at that level is where we can really, we can go into that flow. We can depend on our body to show us the way. And it's just a matter of listening to how we feel and then taking action to create balance so that we can allow the energy of our life to guide us to the next decision that we make, the next way that we relate to people, what we say, how we feel, what we want.
When I think of the United States as a country where people are so sleep deprived and moving so quickly, the first important step would be to slow down, pay attention, develop a sleep ritual that makes sense, contemplate the food that you're putting inside of you and the water. It needs to be very good water because we're 70% water as adults. And to surround ourselves with people who uplift us and sounds that are good sounds because our water attracts the sounds.
Yeah. And the breathing that you're talking about is so important. And one of the things, and I've been using this more and more, is the mantra to remind myself is, my body heals perfectly. I am strong and healthy, and my body heals perfectly. And it just puts us into a different state of knowing and of loving ourselves and giving our body that acceptance and belief in our own self that it does know what to do. And I do believe you, I will follow myself and what my knowing is to create this next moment of being.
Well said, both of you. How can people reach you? How can our listeners find you?
They can go to www.selfhealth, HEALTH, Institute, selfhealthinstitute.com. There we have a beautiful gift, 3 powerful ways to tap into your body's inner wisdom.
Lovely, lovely.
Beautiful.
Are you planning, you mentioned a workshop on past life. Of course, I think of Brian Weiss and how he awakened me to all of this. When is your workshop happening?
So that's happening in a couple of weeks. We also have something where you can, it's part of a beautiful number of events that we have coming up in the next couple months. And we're doing a CoreTalk Rapid Relief Healing Session. And that is a week from this Friday on July 11th. And that's where you can come and you can really learn about what we do. And on that, we also have an invitation for an event that we have coming up and also for that Heal Your Past Life Trauma Workshop. So when you come to our website, you can get the 3 powerful ways to tap into your body's inner wisdom. And that will lead to the information about those other events.
And if you want to do it quick, like right now, you can just write to support@selfhealthinstitute.com and we'll answer you immediately and get you into that rapid relief healing session. And we actually today, in 1 hour, have a CoreTalk, a question and answer, kind of an ask me anything about CoreTalk. You can jump right into that. We can send you a link. We do tons of free events. That's free. The rapid relief healing session is free. We want people to learn how to heal themselves. And if they're healers or health practitioners, to learn this work so that they can heal their clients faster and easier and with fun and sweet talking.
Lovely. So as we get ready to close, I wanted to say that next week, listeners, you're going to see me. I'm going to be reading from my favorite blogs and from my book, The A Train to Sedona memoir. Antonia and Greg, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's been joyful and fun. Bye for now.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.